This is Southern Cross News with Rachel Williams.
Good evening, everyone. The federal government has revealed plans for a naval shipbuilding institute to bolster our domestic construction capabilities. While the Tasmanian-based Australian Maritime College has been announced as a partner, the institute will be headquartered in the Defence Industry Minister's home city of Adelaide. Christopher Pyne denies the plan is a sidelining of our AMC.
The future HMAS Sydney is coming together at the Osborne Naval Shipyard in Adelaide. This is a hub for Australia's shipbuilding industry, and it's set to get busier, with a $90 billion spend flagged for 54 new naval vessels over the coming decades. To address a skills gap, the federal government today announcing a new naval shipbuilding college.
One of the greatest challenges to the success of this mission is ensuring the education and skills of the people who will work on it.
It will be headquartered in Adelaide, with several partner organisations across the country. The Australian Maritime College in Launceston has been announced as one of those. The federal government denies the AMC has been sidelined.
So the students will go to the AMC physically for the first year or two, and then transfer to this shipyard or submarine yard here to learn some of their skills on the actual tools.
We will be a primary driver for the development of curriculum to develop workforce. It means we'll be very closely involved in the higher level knowledge skills development that's needed for a smart workforce for the 21st century.
Tasmania lags behind Australian defence spending. Latest estimates suggesting we attract a measly 0.03%. Our advanced manufacturing industry is now eyeing overseas opportunities. The state government embarking on a $125,000 trade mission to the US later this month.
We export over 90% of what we produce in Tasmania, and so we need to get out to the rest of the world and sell our capability.
PFG Aquatruck is one of 8 companies taking part, hoping to secure interest in its vessels made from highly durable polymer.
We really do want to make this the test to see if there's anything in the US for us. So we're meeting with Coast Guard, we're meeting with Navy, Army.
Hoping for more success than we get here in Australia. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
Well, a plane en route to Hobart last night was struck by lightning and forced to turn back to Sydney. No one on board the Virgin Australia flight was injured, but as a precaution, the aircraft returned to Sydney to undergo a safety check. Virgin says its fleet is designed to withstand lightning strikes, and they are a common occurrence. An additional flight from Sydney to Hobart was then offered this morning for affected passengers. The Choir of High Hopes will keep singing in Hobart thanks to a generous donation. $8,000 has been handed over from the Consular Corps, which represents 23 foreign governments in Tasmania. The money will go towards helping to run the choir and pay the cost of professional musicians.
The choir was formed in 2007 to be a refuge, if you like, for people who are experiencing disadvantage in its many forms. I thought, well, perhaps we ought to do something to give back to the community, to make the community aware that we actually exist, because very often people don't know what a concert is, what we're here for and what we do.
The choir needs a total of $18,000 in donations every year to keep running. Organisers of Tasmania's annual Red Wine Weekend have cancelled this year's event. The 2-day festival is usually held in May and attracts around 2,000 wine lovers. But organisers say it's with regret that they're taking a break. They've thanked those who have supported the event over the past decade and say they hope to launch a new wine event later in the year. This year's hop harvest is coming to an end after a busy few weeks, with 255 hectares of vines stripped at Bushy Park. They'll be used in the brewing process, with the industry booming along with the rise in craft beers.
As the 2018 harvest draws to an end, pickers have been working hard collecting hops, an essential ingredient in beer.
We've been picking day and night shift 6 days a week for the last 26 days. So yeah, it's going well, and we're coming to a close with this variety.
That we work the long day So now I'm start to be tired, but I like this job.
Hops Products Australia exports 60% of their product internationally, with 40% going to Australian breweries. As the craft beer industry continues to boom, high quality hops are in serious demand.
What we are presenting now to brewers is different hops with different flavours, and the craft beer industry is really all about presenting choice and diversity back to the consumers, allowing them to choose what flavour of beer they really want.
Tasmania is at the top of the game, with new breweries such as Shambles thriving off the luxury of being close to the source of key ingredients.
We know our hop growers, we know the people who are growing them and selling them to us, and they're not far away, so we can visit the hop fields and actually see the hops being grown and be a little bit part of the harvest as well.
Local brewers are now gearing up for the Fresh Hop Beer Festival in Launceston later this month. Ruby Kamain, Southern Cross News.
Now a look at the day's business and finance news thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. The Australian share market has closed slightly weaker but avoided most of the impact of an overnight fall in US tech stocks that has weighed on Asian markets, along with China's sign-off on retaliatory trade tariffs on some US imports. The ASX 200 index has dropped by 7.5 points. And a short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 77.03 US cents and 106.27 New Zealand cents.
Following his best pre-season to date, Lauderdale captain Bryce Walsh has been dealt a heavy blow, suffering an horrific broken ankle in the side's round 1 loss to Clarence. But the midfielder is determined to get back on the field within a few months, and a warning some viewers may find the following vision distressing. One of the nastiest looking injuries the TSL has seen in recent years.
I think the full forward and the full back came out and took my legs out from underneath me, and ended up sort of landing awkwardly on my foot and heard the snap straight away.
After a solid pre-season, the Bombers skipper was touted as one of the players to watch in 2018, but that hard work was undone in an instant, with Walsh suffering a badly broken ankle that needed pins and a plate to be re-straightened.
Straight away you just thought of the deeper stuff, like, oh, that's it for the season, I'm done.
Thankfully for Walsh and the club, the diagnosis wasn't quite as bad as first predicted.
I've had the same surgery as what Selwood and Liberatore had, and I know those guys are in AFL environments, but they were back in 41 days, so with any luck I'll sort of be in 6 weeks in this boot and then can hit some rehab, and he said maybe 10 weeks.
Until then, the Bombers figurehead says he'll help guide the young group in any way he can as he begins on the long road to recovery.
I'll be here in spirit, whether that's helping out with some coaching or, in the gym doing some extra rehab, so I'll be around.
Meantime, the Tigers are preparing for a mammoth task ahead following their 53-point drubbing of North Hobart when they travel north to take on flag favourites North Launceston this weekend.
I feel like we're definitely ready for it. We're looking forward to testing ourselves against the best in the competition, and we've been setting ourselves for that all pre-season. So
Burrows Cheng will look to be one of the Tigers' key drivers this season, returning to his junior club following several years on the Gold Coast, with the small forward managing 4 goals in his State League debut.
We've got some really good talent, and boys are just going to develop more and more into those roles.
Meantime, at Lauderdale's Jordan Roberts is on the verge of being deregistered from the competition following a dangerous tackle on Clarence's Wade Wall during Saturday's match. The match review panel offering Roberts a 1-match suspension, which would see his total go to 16, resulting in deregistration. Roberts has rejected the MRP's offer, and the matter will now be heard at Wednesday night's tribunal. The Hobart Chargers have welcomed some world-class talent into the mix ahead of tip-off, with former American college star and Melbourne boomer Brittany Smart ready to make her presence felt on the court as the side guns for an elusive Siebel Championship. Chargers coach Dwayne Davey had been pursuing Smart's services for quite some time, with the stars finally aligning for 2018.
I think we've been talking for 3 years. Every now and again he kind of checks in to see if I'm available, and it just finally worked out.
Boasting years of experience playing professionally in Europe, the lightning quick guard was also the Siebel's top scorer for the Sandringham Sabres, going on to play 3 seasons with WNBL side the Melbourne Boomers and claiming the club's MVP award last year.
After playing in all these different countries, to go to a club that's very passionate about the game of basketball and very excited about it, that's only going to bring out the best in people.
Smart joins fellow imports Kathleen Shear and Clara Wisher to round out the Chargers list, with the American ready to get straight down to business against Kilsyth at the Deck this Friday night.
Hopefully just aggressive physicality. I do like to shove and push, and I'm probably a hustler.
And club president David Bartlett has given fans a taste of what they can expect from import Trey Nichols, posting this impressive display of athleticism from the 5'9" point guard on social media today. The men also take on Kilsyth following the women's game. Soccer now, and the Olympia Warriors have booked their spot in the Lacquer Seljack Cup quarterfinals following a thrilling win over Glenorchy Knights at home overnight. With the match locked at 3-3 at the end of regulation time, Warriors goalkeeper Brett Johnson stepped up with a penalty save in extra time before pulling off another one in the penalty shootout.
It's Brown, and it's saved! Johnson with the incredible save late on!
Causing a few problems for the experienced Knights midfielder. He steps up and Johnson denies him! Sprawling save, 1-0 Knights. The American is making a name for himself tonight.
The Warriors then going on to take the match 5-3 in penalties. Well, they've dominated the Symmons Plains Raceway in the past. Now 888 Race Engineering is back to try and take another podium in this weekend's round of the Supercars Championship. Series leader Shane van Gisbergen says he'll bounce back from a bad round in Melbourne, while Craig Lowndes is going for win number 10 at the track.
As far as history goes, Holden's 888 Race Engineering looks like this weekend's team to beat. Jamie Whincup is a regular on the podium, while teammate Shane van Gisbergen heads in with a narrow lead on the championship table.
Won a couple down there. It's a pretty tough race. You obviously got to qualify up front, but then the strategy is key as well.
Van Gisbergen was awarded Saturday's race victory last year when that pole-up claimed 13 cars and ended the race.
It's really technical, and there's 3 really tough key zones to that track, and always turns up good racing.
Rounding out the 888 juggernaut is Craig Lowndes. He's won 9 races at the track, making him the championship's second most successful driver on the course.
That hairpin, which is basically a 180, but it also it drops away. We changed the steering racks in the race cars just for that corner.
A few days out from qualifying, the track looks a treat, and is all thanks to some hardy volunteers. This small group has spent a combined 300 hours mowing and slashing Symmons Plains into a postcard.
We're all sort of know one another from way back, and similar sort of car projects. It's just one of those things. You sort of say, well, how much have you done? And sort of catch up on them and say, oh, I've done about 50 yards more than you.
It was actually looking like a sheep farm. It was terrible. Our volunteers, our Dave's Army as such, have done a really absolutely brilliant job.
And tomorrow, fans will be able to see the annual Supercars truck convoy make its way through Launceston between 3:30 and 4:15. Tom Johnson, Southern Cross News.
Good evening. Hobart 23 today, Launceston 22, Burnie 21, Devonport also 21. Most areas had above average temps today, with the highest being 7 degrees above average along the east coast. Friendly Beaches 26, it was the state's top. Maria Island and St Helens 24, Grove and Ouse 21, Lowhead and Flinders 19, Lyowini and Strawn still got a 17. Mount Reid recorded 19 mil of rain today. It was the highest in the state. The satellite showing low-level cloud over the western half of Tasmania and Bass Strait. Nationwide, there's low-level cloud in the Bight, trapped underneath a high-pressure system. Rain, showers and isolated storms for central Queensland being enhanced by a slow-moving tropical cyclone Iris, which is currently in the Coral Sea northeast of Townsville. Some mid-level cloud and isolated storms also present for Western Australia. Tomorrow looks quite similar, with a high pressure system in the Bight and the Tasman Sea. Tropical cyclone Iris will stay put about 300 kilometres off the coast of Townsville. On the water, west to northwesterly winds to 20 knots, reaching 30 about the south, seas to 4 metres about the west and south. There is a strong wind warning current for southern coastal waters from Tasman Island to Low Rocky Point. Tomorrow the south will see some sunnier skies. Hobart 23, Geeston and Bothwell 21, Launceston Launceston, sunny 23, Devonport 22 and Cressy's whipping out a 24. Burnie 20, showers for Strawn 18 and Curry cloudy with 19. St Helens sunny 23, Swansea and Orford sunny on 22. And the 3-day forecast: Thursday, cloudy about the north with 22 for Launceston and Swansea. A slight chance of showers around the south. Friday, cloudy around the north. Showers expected on the east coast with a maximum of 20 in Launceston. And of course, for the weekend, plenty of showers forecast so far with a state top of 21 on the east coast there in St Helens. And lapping the map for tomorrow, 28 in Perth. Adelaide, partly cloudy 26. Canberra, sunny 27. Showers in Brizzy 28. And Melbourne, mostly sunny with 22. Well, to some news just in, firefighters are working to control a structure fire in Kings Meadows. Neighbours alerted emergency services to the fire on Hobart Road soon after 5:30. The blaze has destroyed most of the home, but a Good Samaritan has managed to save a dog on the property.